Hi, I'm Mike Richter, and today we're going to talk about this question that I get every now and then that says, if I had to start over, how would I build a real estate empire? And it goes something like this. There's a four-phase process that I look at now and say, hey, if I had to start over, what kind of steps would I take? These are the four steps I would take. The first step would be the hustle and saving phase, and that's where I make sure to have just my basic job, whatever it takes to go ahead and pay my bills, and then hustle to pay off high interest consumer debt, pay off any debt on depreciating assets, and to save, to move on to phase two, which is to build a business to serve other people. And at that point, I'd look to scale the business enough to move on to step three, where I would use business funds to purchase the first real estate and scale the business, and then moving on to phase four, which is where I would have the business and real estate income, and I'd look to get it above my monthly expenses. So let's take a deeper look at what phase one would look like. So the hustle and savings phase, I'd try to find a sales job or something where I have scalable income based on my performance, or at least something that has key business skills associated with it. The thing about having a sales job in, say, insurance or selling cars or whatnot, there are some really key skills involved in any of those professions that will serve us later on throughout the process. Or if I didn't go in the sales route and instead I went ahead and specialized in something and say rejoined the military, right? Because that's where I retired from fairly recently. But I would make sure to add side hustle, which will increase my income potential. And preferably that side hustle would be some sort of business. At this point, it would probably be something like affiliate marketing, something that I can scale with time and wouldn't take too much direct effort on my part after I set up the business. If you want to learn a little bit more about affiliate marketing, I've got a video that I can link in the description about it. Let's see, I would take all of the extra income and put it against debt or put it into savings for phase two. So I would attack my debt pretty seriously, all of my high interest rate consumer debt or anything like a car loan or anything like that. If I were just starting my adult life, I probably would not yet buy my first house just because I don't have anything saved to really deal with some of the things that can come up when you're a homeowner. And I'd be in a really vulnerable circumstance, especially if I still had some kind of debt from dumb decisions that I made beforehand. And basically, once I got rid of all of my high interest rate consumer debt and depreciating asset debt, I would just chunk it all into savings. The first 1,000 into emergency savings, and anything beyond that, I'd put into like S&P 500 mutual fund index funds. And the reason why I do that is so it can go ahead and grow while I continue to pile up for me to do something with it in the near future. And to be clear, in this phase, I would not buy investment real estate yet. So this will move us on to phase two, which is to build a business. So I would find an opportunity to serve others, so preferably one that scales. If I've already been doing affiliate marketing as my side hustle in phase one, I would continue to build that while at the same time using all of the things that I learned from that to build another business so that you'd have two going. Because once you get rolling in affiliate marketing, it's a lot easier to scale it and to make use of what you've already established once you've got an established email list. Next, I'd build a platform to share with the world. So something like a YouTube channel or an Instagram feed or a blog, something where the people that could benefit from my service or my business could find me. Blogs are for people to find you, and YouTube is to share your knowledge with other people. And both of those are really great places to reach out to your future customers. And honestly, it could be any number of things. Or if you really want to get a head start in real estate, you could start wholesaling and real estate investing. I'm going to have another video on wholesaling and the bare bones on that, and a more detailed video later on about how wholesaling works. The basic idea, though, is that you find deals, you put them under contract, and then you sell the deal to an end buyer. So someone who's looking for a buy and hold investment, or somebody who fixes houses and flips them and doesn't want to go through all the hassle of finding a deal on their own, they'd very likely want to buy a deal from a wholesaler who's already got it set up to what they need to move on to their business. And I would stay away from manufacturing products if at all possible, due to a lack of scaling. So I got a couple of examples of businesses that I've run in the past that I learned a lot from, but in terms of monetary value didn't work out too well for me. One of them was, I was into trading card games a lot when I was younger. I still like them. I just don't have as much time as I would want to with them because I'm prioritizing other things in my life. But I went ahead and opened up a shop on a website called tcgplayer.com, and I would end up buying cards in bulk, finding the best ones and selling them off at a profit, and then selling all the other ones where I had just above break even for a value proposition. And it worked out pretty well. I got rid of a lot of stock. We ended up making good profitability, but the trick is it was very difficult to scale because it took a lot of time from my wife and I to actually administer it. Basically, I would do all of the setup and the selling when I got home from work, and then my wife would fulfill orders as they came in. The trick was we didn't have a good mechanism to keep stock incoming, just because if the only way to profitably get cards was to buy it at a deep discount from people who are looking to get out of the game. So you'd often have an overflow of stock that you really didn't need much of, because as the game progressed, you'd have elements that just went off and died off due to obsolescence. Kind of like computers. If you have a really old computer, it doesn't hold a candle to something that you can buy today. And in most trading card games, you see that kind of element, so that the trading card game can grow and develop, because that's the bottom line business for the creator of the game. Another business that I had was I would flip iPhones on Amazon, which was really good. I mean, I used that to buy 3 different iPhones for myself. And basically what I did is I went on a Craigslist and I bought iPhones at a steep discount. I'd make sure they were factory unlocked. The ones that I liked, I would use them for a period of time, and as I had excess, I would sell off I would clean them up, make sure that they worked really well, packaged them up as best I could, and then sold them on Amazon for a profit. It was a pretty good deal. I mean, at one point I bought 4 different iPhones, and by the end of the 4th iPhone, I was able to have mine free and clear. And I did that 3 different times. It was really good to just buy, fix, and flip things, kind of like you would for a house. So that might be something you could do in your local area if you're in a big enough city. But here in San Angelo, there's a fairly limited stock, and it's a pretty saturated market, the fix and flip market for cell phones here. Now, a friend of mine had a really awesome business that she was running where she would make hair bows and tutus, and she got a lot of orders. She's fantastic at customer service. She made a great product. The problem was it would take a lot of time to actually manufacture the product. And by the time she factored in the amount of time it took to sell them, to get the materials, to purchase them, and to manufacture them, the amount of profit she was making wasn't making sense based on how much time it took to make them and to make them happen. So that's why I would recommend staying away from manufacturing products. But you know what, if she was still running the business now and I was where I am now, I would recommend her to, instead of manufacturing the products, since she knows how to do it so well, to sell a course on how to make bows or how to make tutus. That way people who are interested can do it as a craft project and manufacture them themselves and have that pride in workmanship, so that my friend would be basically making and selling a very scalable product in a course or information product, and she would be spreading this awesome technique to make beautiful products with everybody else that was interested in that product line, instead of having to go through all the hassle of doing all the supply chaining, all of the selling, and all of the manufacturing, which really ended up causing burnout on her part. So that's the primary reason why I'd recommend staying away from manufacturing products, unless it just makes that much sense. You have to take a look at what the value of your time is when you're looking at something like that. So I've built a business, or I've built a platform and a business, and I'm sharing it with the world. There's an open market for what I want. Sales are happening and there's cash flow. Now we get to move on to phase 3, where I use business funds to scale the business even further. And I also would look to house hack my first duplex, triplex, or fourplex in this phase. So to be clear, in phase 1 and 2, I'm either renting an apartment, or I've gotten on this journey after I already bought my first house to be living in. But for the sake of argument, let's just say that I've been renting this whole time. It's in phase 3 that I would house hack my first duplex, triplex, and fourplex, because at this point I've got a fair bit of confidence in my ability to drive cash flow in my business. So I've got extra income to deal with some of the unknowns that come with owning property. And if I do a really good job of underwriting an investment deal, by the way, I've got another video in the description box that can help you analyze a property. I go through the method called the Foursquare method of analyzing property. You can see that below. I'd also find more time to leverage my time and maximize the value I create every day. This might be the time where I start looking at toning down my time at the regular job and focusing more on my business, depending on how much cash flow my business is generating. We'll talk specific numbers in phase 4, but for the sake of phase 3, I would look at toning down my involvement in my regular job in terms of steady career advancement kind of stuff. And eventually I would look to contract and hire employees so that I could work on the business rather than working in the business. So say I was working in a physical goods business where I would buy goods from a manufacturer and then resell it at a profit. I would not be the one to do all the packing and all the selling and things like that. I would hire somebody to do all the packing and shipping, and another person to do inventory based on how much volume we're doing in business. That way I can work on what the workflow is, what kind of products and services we should provide, the big strategic level kinds of decisions that need to be made by the chief executive officer. So that's something I would do, so that the tasks that don't bring me in as much value, I can basically have somebody else take care of those tasks, so that I can focus on the things that bring me much more value and bring more value to the company and to the enterprise as a whole. So right about that time, we are moving on to phase 4. And in phase 4, that's when our business income is 2 to 3 times our income from our regular job. Once we have achieved double or triple our income compared to our regular job, we find a way to very gracefully exit being at work from 9 to 5, so that we can spend even more time working on our business and get us purchasing real estate or cash flowing assets with our business income. That way we can grind closer and closer to our financial freedom number. And that number is going to be different based on your own expenses and your own circumstances. But your financial freedom number is the amount of money you need to make every single month to cover your expenses. Now, my financial freedom number is something like $4,500 a month. But for me to really want to reel back on producing content outside of what I've been doing lately, I'd really feel more comfortable if we had something like $6,000 a month coming in from passive income sources. But you have to figure out what's right for you in that case. And once I get to financial freedom, that's the point where I would make the choice of, okay, what do I really want to do in life? And if that isn't exactly what I had been doing in my business at that point, I would maybe look to sell the business and then use the proceeds of that to really fund something that I've been wanting to do, or something that I feel can really bring value to the world. Maybe it's not economic value, maybe it's social value, maybe it's something that you want to spend time as a teacher or something like that. And if you've got financial freedom from cash flowing real estate or cash flowing assets, then you don't have to worry about the fact that you're losing out on the business income once you've sold the business. So those are things that I would do if I were starting over from scratch right now. So just to recap, I would start in phase one with the hustle and savings phase, where I would pick up some side hustle in addition to my regular job, pay off my high interest rate commercial debt, as well as any debt associated with like a car or something like that. So basically, in my world, anything higher than 2.5% is something I would recommend paying down and paying off as soon as possible. And then after that, you ramp up your savings in S&P 500 index funds until you have enough to really start a business. With like affiliate marketing, you really don't need much to start the business. So that's something to look at if you don't want to spend as much time in the savings phase. But the reason why I recommend paying off debt before working on investing, at least the higher yield stuff or the higher interest rate debt, the reason why I talk about that is if you have lower expenses in your life, then you have less risk. And if something goes wrong in terms of you have this emergency that comes up in a given month, or for some reason there's something wrong with your payroll at work, well, it's a lot easier to deal with it if you have fewer debts to worry about. So once we have a little bit saved up, we'd move to phase two and build a business. So we'd find some kind of opportunity to create value, be it affiliate marketing or creating information products, or maybe you're into network marketing, something like that. You might even do real estate wholesaling on the side, something like that, where you're building a business, you're building value, and you're creating cash flow, significant cash flow outside of your regular 9 to 5. And then once you have consistent cash flow, maybe about $1,000 a month more than you had been making otherwise, I'd move on to phase three, where you start using business funds to scale the business and use business funds to start with your first real estate property. House hacking, a duplex, a triplex, and a fourplex. One of those. And once you have a certain multiple of your regular 9 to 5 income, we'd move on to phase four, where you have your business and your real estate income continue to buy cash flowing assets for you. And right around the time you're making double to triple your regular 9 to 5 income from your business would be the time that I would look to leave my 9 to 5 to make the jump into investing all your time into your business, so that you can build your business cash flow and your real estate income faster and faster to get to the point where your passive cash flow is above your financial freedom number. And once again, for me, it was $4,500 was my financial freedom number. Yours might be 6,000 or 10,000, but whatever yours is, make sure that you've got that hit pretty solidly with your business and real estate income before you make the jump of getting away from your business as a whole. Once you have your financial freedom number, by all means, go ahead and sell off the business. Use that chunk that you get for proceeds from the business and buy some more real estate if you'd like. That could be really good and even put you that much further into financial freedom. And at that point, you can enjoy doing what you want to do rather than what you have to do. And you can invest yourself in whatever it is that you want to do whether you want to give back in some social way, whether you want to be a teacher, whether you want to be a fireman or a policeman, something where you can do whatever it is that you feel that you need to be doing, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about your family suffering for it financially. So that's the bottom line of, if I had to start all over, what would I do? If you found this video to be of value, or if you liked it at all, by all means, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. It helps YouTube show other people my stuff. So if you felt that it had value, then by all means, let's go ahead and share it with some more people, right? If you'd like to see more of my content, then by all means, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to be notified when new content comes out, go ahead and hit the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button so you can change your notification settings. If you have any questions, or if you want to share what your financial freedom number is, or what kind of side hustle you have, I'd love to have a conversation with you down in the comment section below. And thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate it. By all means, I hope you have a fantastic day.